Ayo, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the Generational Beef Podcast. I'm your host, Tristan Terrell, as well as my dad,
Noel Terrell, Generational Beef.
the Beef.
The
A little
beef.
bit,
That's about the highest I can do right now.
yeah, a little bit under the weather. Allergies been kicking butt recently.
That's what I don't get. Here, it shouldn't be a problem, but Jesus.
Yeah, I'm starting to get over mine a little bit, but this weekend was really, really bad for me. You're still kind of in the midst of it, it seems, but happy
I live in
Memorial
a
Day to
damn.
everybody.
I live in the damn desert. I shouldn't have to worry about it. I was driving
Yeah.
home the other day though, and there was white shit floating in the air. I don't know what it
Do you know
was.
what it was?
No,
Oh, well, that's not great, I guess.
probably
Uh,
radioactive. I don't
it was the isotopes. Their bats were too on that night, so they're
Maybe,
putting something in the atmosphere.
maybe.
But
Still up for the 100 subscriber.
Happy Memorial Day to everybody. We're recording on Monday this week, so that way, we've got the day off. So recording early, so that way we're not missing any playoff action. Got the Knicks Cavs game 4 tonight, and then Thunder Spurs game 5 tomorrow. You'll still see this Wednesday, but we're recording Monday. Also, happy birthday to Dad yesterday. So, the big 74.
Shut up.
Or, close enough.
That's how old my dad is.
Within reason. We're in a range.
Anyway,
Within a range of me to grandpa. You're in there somewhere.
fair enough.
But yeah. So let's get into the show. Start off with just not something that I think either of us have any kind of real subject matter expertise in. But shout out to Kyle Busch. Rest in peace to him. Condolences to the family. Pretty big deal, and obviously out of nowhere, surprising. Still really young, very sad. So
Yeah, culturally, I mean, I don't pay attention to NASCAR all that much, but you always know the big names if you're into sports, right? Because you hear them. Obviously, he was huge for a long time. Um, he still had some goals. I saw yesterday he eventually wanted to be able to run the Coca-Cola 600 and the Indy 500 in the same day, which is crazy to think about. Those guys take a beating in both of those cars. So to think about doing that, flying to the other place and then doing it again seems nuts. But you know what I took away from this more than anything? Yeah, I mean, pneumonia is nothing to sneeze at, right? Like it's a huge deal. It's a very serious health concern. Um, and then obviously getting infected and going sepsis like that is crazy. But you kind of get to the point when you feel like somebody that has that much money, something like that's not going to kill him.
right.
Like, he obviously had the best medical care you could get. So it's kind of weird. Like you don't expect that to happen. It's one thing if you're in a car accident or, something just really crazy happens to you, or you get a really bad diagnosis of cancer. It doesn't matter how much money you have. If it's not a very treatable cancer, it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
But something as simple as, I say simple, I don't mean it that way, but something that we've been treating for a very long time and understood what it was for a very long time, for that to be fatal is kind of sad and scary
Yeah.
for everyone. I mean, I guarantee you had care. So
Right. I would say that in that sense, immediately I go to two different things, two different places. The first of which you would never like to assume, especially like you said, with the fact that he's obviously got money, he's got resources, like he's gonna have the best medical care. But you got to think that the first thing I think of is, maybe was there any sort of like a malpractice there? You know what I mean? Like what went wrong? And then the other thing I think about is just at the end of the day, it's one of those things where like the risk is there, and at the end of the day, um, money can only buy you so much. And like you said, it seems like in that case, it would never, go wrong if you have the right amount of money for it. But at the end of the day, life
It's
is
also
life,
very
and
possible it's also very possible, right, that because 'cause I'm very guilty of this. I haven't had a primary care physician in 20 years. I don't ever go to the doctor. Um, Maybe you just waited too late to go.
yeah, that's a possibility too. You
Yeah.
know, like things like that happen, and it's sad, scary, but yeah.
Yeah.
Um, go get checked up if you're sick. I guess there we go. That's
Yeah. PSA.
PSA to our four listeners. I was
Right.
gonna start the show when I talked about when I said Happy Memorial today. I was gonna say Happy Memorial Day to those in the United States of that are watching us, you know. But I figured that we haven't quite got that reach yet. So
Oh, there's
um,
some dude in Sweden just pissed off at us all the time. I'm sure of it.
oh man,
He'll be the one I'm sending this hat. He'll be the 100 subscriber.
you know what? I hope so because I hope you have to spend like $60 on shipping or
I
whatever.
don't care. I'll do it. I got 60. It's all good.
All right. Next thing we've got little bit of NFL news. Matthew Stafford's contract came out. 1 year extension, $55 million. There haven't really been too many more things on it than that, so we don't know the breakdown necessarily. We don't know if it's fully guaranteed. We don't know if there's any incentive or bonus on it or whatever. But 1 year extension, $55 million for the current reigning MVP of the NFL.
How much was left
Um,
on his current contract?
1 year. So he's going to play this year on that contract, which basically guarantees him to play one more after the season. Because if you sign that contract and then don't play for the $55 million, that's absurd. So he's going to play through at least 2027, which is great for the sport, great for him, great for the Rams, obviously.
I mean,
And
look,
then after that, we'll see. But
the contract's a no-brainer. It's one more
yeah,
year.
yeah.
You're out of it completely in 2 years, regardless of what happens to him, regardless of how well he plays. Obviously, right now, there's no reason to believe he's not capable of playing at an MVP level the next year for sure, maybe 2. Injuries are the only concern, right? But that's your concern anytime you sign a new deal.
But,
It's not like he locked him into a 3-year extension that could
right.
really hurt them if he gets a career-ending injury next season, right? So,
Well, and
there's no risk.
I promise you, right, as great as that roster is, as great as Sean McVay is, that defense is loaded with young talent. Especially now that they've reloaded the secondary. It's phenomenal. Obviously, you've got Puka, you've got Vontae, you've got Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, solid offensive line. Like I said, Sean McVay. In either of the next 2 seasons, if Matthew Stafford goes down, I promise you, Ty Simpson is not the answer enough to win you a Super Bowl.
And
At
I
least
think
not right
that's
now.
your but I think
So
that's come full circle, and if that's true, and I agree with you that it is, but if that's true, then he wasn't the guy you should have drafted when you drafted him.
agreed. And I believe that Sean McVay believes that as well, right? Like, I don't think that was a very split decision, I believe. And I don't think that was Sean's choice. And I think that in a couple years, we could get to the point where whether it's Les Snead, the GM, going or it's Sean McVay going, once Stafford's gone, I think that this could cause enough division to cause some chaos and whatever
I'll
in
say
LA
this.
and force
I'll
somebody out.
here's what you could say. The only reason I don't think was the right decision is that you have a Super Bowl contending team, right? You
You have
they
a
bas
window, make it
they
wider.
they basically played in the Super Bowl this year or last
Yeah,
year,
no, they did. I mean, yeah,
right? Um, and so when you look at it that way, that's where you could argue. Now, if you were to ask me if Stafford is going to retire in 2 years, and let's say he plays 2 MVP caliber years between there and then, which is possible. 2 years in the system, sitting behind Stafford, you know how I feel about this as a development program.
yeah, no. Here's what I will say.
If he
I
can't
don't.
get him ready for the year 3, it's McVay.
Yeah, I don't love Ty Simpson, the prospect, but I do believe he was the number 2 quarterback in this class, and I do believe he is still a good prospect. Not elite. I don't love him, but I believe he's a good prospect.
But I
And
think
here's
anybody can be above average or great, not elite,
sure,
under McVay.
sure. Here's what I will say though.
I mean, Brock Purdy looks elite sometimes in San
Right.
Francisco.
If Sean McVay buys into him, I think it can work. I just think that there's the world where he's in the same mindset we are right now, which is like, we really could have gotten a guy that's going to compete this year, and then we went and punted, is what we did. And so I think that there could be enough pride and all that on the line from both sides, where there's never a middle ground, and nobody ends up happy, and it ends up bad. But
Look,
you
a
never know.
GM can do whatever he wants as
Yeah,
long as you're willing to live with the consequences,
yeah, no, for sure. And
right?
at the end of the day,
If the end result is they don't compete this year because something happens to Stafford,
mm-hmm.
right? And then you run McVay out of town, you're fired, and
What
you
I
may
was
not.
gonna,
You know,
well, yeah, and that's what
hold
I was gonna
on,
say. It,
hold on. But the other thing is, I already know their GM's not smart. And I'll tell you why. You don't make that move without talking to McVay and Stafford.
yeah. Now, here's what I will say. I feel perfectly confident, right, that both of them were aware. I'm sure they knew. I just don't think they were happy about it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You have to get their buy-in if you're going to keep a cohesive
Yeah,
team. Now, if they go out and compete the next 2 years, who cares?
sure.
I guess. But if you don't get it done and you were one piece away, then you're questioning that pick.
Yeah.
And to your point, maybe McVay says, "I'll just go to Miami," or whatever.
Well, I think that his next step, and we were already talking about this kind of in 2022 a bit, was just him leaving and going into the booth, right?
I mean,
And
he'd
that's a
make a
possibility.
fortune and he'd be great.
Yeah. But so there is definitely a
I'm
real
really
world
stoked. I am
where,
really stoked, by the way, about Tomlin being in the booth this year.
yeah, me too.
Well, not the booth, but
Right.
commentating. Yeah.
But I believe that at the end of the day, that could just be the writing on the wall, where he just walks out with staff, and Matthew Stafford announces his retirement, and 3 days later, Sean's like, deuces. I did what
And
I've done,
and I
and
don't care
nobody
how
would blame him.
well. And here's the thing: is I don't care how talented that roster is, although it would be a very attractive spot at that point, right?
Right.
I don't care how attractive or how good that roster is at that moment. You just lost 5 games a year with McVay walking out of the building.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah.
McVay's good for 4 or 5 games a year on his own.
I mean, I would say that if you talk about the best coaches in the league, right, in kind of a tier of their own based on scheme, longevity, and just overall what they've done in the league compared to the other guys, I would say the top three in like a tier of their own right now, in no particular order, whatever, is Andy Reid, Sean McVay, and Kyle Shanahan. And then we've got a bunch of other guys that have done it in shorter spurts, up and coming, whatever. But those guys have been here around for more than a decade at this point. They've all done it. I get Kyle Shanahan doesn't have a ring, but he's always there.
No,
Over
but there are
over.
guys in the league that do, and you're overlooking them for some reason. But
I'm just saying, I believe that Mike McDonald is right there? Probably, yeah, sure, right. But he's been a head coach in the league for 2 years, and yes, in one of those he won a ring, right. But
there's another guy that has 2 of them. Giants.
he does not have two. He's got one.
I thought he had 2.
And he was not there in 2000.
No, they won another one.
No, they won in 2012. That was it.
Okay. Anyway,
I don't. I don't.
he
I
has
don't put
more
Harp.
than he has
I don't put.
more with less talent
I
than
mean,
Shanahan's had.
stupid defensive talent.
I know, but offensively,
You could also
look, I have told you
you
many
hold on. You can also conversely to Kyle Shanahan. You can also look at the talent on the Ravens roster currently and say that Harbaugh has like underperformed like 4 or 5 years in a row, and say that the opposite about Kyle Shanahan.
I mean,
But
when your best player plays that way in the playoffs, that's going to happen.
I don't just mean the playoffs. I mean in general, but
Well,
also
in the
in the
regular
playoffs.
season, they
Sure.
haven't underachieved.
Fair.
They've been dominant.
I'm just, here's what I'll say. After those guys, I don't even think Harbaugh would be next on my list. I would put, like, if you're talking about guys that have been around for a while and whatever, I would put like Sean Payton ahead of Harbaugh probably. But I mean, because he's got a ring and then he's gone to a new spot and started doing it again. not getting a ring, but like they just won 14 games this year.
Look,
So
we need to get off of this, but one more thing. In full disclosure, I think Kyle Shanahan's brilliant,
yeah,
and I think last year was probably his best coaching job of his NFL career.
yeah, no, I agree.
I think he was coach of the year, although I wanted, uh
Liam
see, I
Cohen.
no.
Oh,
Anyway.
Mike McDonald.
Oh, no, yeah, it was Cohen who I picked,
Yeah,
but neither here nor there. He his problem is his ego gets in the way of actual winning when it matters sometimes. And then, obviously, the Atlanta Falcons should have a Super Bowl, and Tom Brady should have one less if he just was smart in the second half and didn't try to get cocky and try to move the ball like crazy. All they had to
sure.
do was run it like 2 more times, and there's not enough time to lose. Like, that play calling in the second half of that Super Bowl, which he was wholly responsible for, was terrible. He should have a ring as a coordinator in Atlanta. Matt Ryan should have a ring. Tom Brady should have 6, not 7, right? And it was Kyle Shanahan's play calling that lost the game.
Yeah, sure, and that's a dark spot, but that was also at this point
But I it gets
uh,
in the way of
a
he
decade
gets
ago,
coaching at times.
maybe, but
As great as he was last year, and maybe he's learning,
yeah,
he beat some underachieving teams in San Francisco.
I don't know that he ever had an underachieving team because he never really had a quarterback. Like Brock Purdy is the best quarterback he's ever had in San Francisco by a mile. He took Jimmy Garoppolo to a Super Bowl, and as good as Brock Purdy has been for his draft position, he's still just an average quarterback in the NFL, maybe slightly above average. Um, and he took him to a Super Bowl as well. And like, I don't know that you could say that any of those teams underperformed. Yes, the rosters themselves had a lot of talent, but he's never really had the guy at
Yeah, well, John
quarterback.
Harbaugh got Colin Kaepernick to the Super Bowl, so
I mean, pure talent, Colin Kaepernick was a better quarterback than Brock Purdy was when he played.
the win
Like,
losses and the stats don't show it even close. Look them up, compare them. It's not even close.
pure talent, pure talent.
I mean,
Um,
talent doesn't mean anything. You don't know what to do with it.
that's fair, and that's why he fizzled out of the league. But I'm just saying,
Jamarcus
like,
Russell had a lot of talent.
well, not. I mean,
He could throw a ball,
he had a lot of college talent.
and he could
There's a
eat
difference
donuts,
between college talent and NFL talent.
and he could eat donuts.
Yeah,
Jeff George had a bunch of talent.
I mean, sure, sure,
So what?
yeah. All right. I mean,
Party up with the Knicks.
let's get to the important things in life now. The NBA playoffs once again. But before we go specifically to the playoffs, we'll talk about NBA news from this week. Couple things. First of all, we'll start off with, and I didn't preface this pre-show, Jason Kidd getting firing. Forgot about that till just now.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, Jason Kidd got fired. Very, very interesting. If you ask me, makes zero sense at all. Just 1 year removed from getting a 5-year extension. He still had 4 years left on his extension. Like, makes no sense to me at all. Especially considering when you look at his resume, he has missed the playoffs 3 of the 5 years that he was coaching there, right? But in the 2 that they made it, they went to the conference finals in one and the NBA finals in the other. And then you fire him after his first year after they traded Luka, and then they won 20 something games, but he coached the rookie of the year, who obviously was probably going to win it the whole time. Like, that's not anything crazy, but like also helped his progression. He had, at least publicly, Cooper Flag's endorsement. And so it just seems like one of those things where it seems, and I understand it. It seems like ownership not wanting to take accountability for what they did, the decision they made in the Luka trade, and trying to clean house and clear up whatever remnants there are of the time when Luka existed in that building. And ultimately, what that means is you got to feel bad for Mavs fans because it's never going to get turned around if that's the case.
Look, here's
So
the thing. Here's the thing. I
this is
don't know
not
if
the Mark Cuban Mavs.
I don't well, yeah. I don't
obviously,
know if
but
it's a good or bad decision. What I do know is this, and we've had this discussion multiple times, and you know my philosophy on this, which is you don't fire a guy unless you got somebody better.
and I do believe that Jason Kidd is
There,
actually
there
a good
could,
NBA coach.
there may be someone better out there right now. You start thinking about guys like Malone, some of those guys that are out there.
Well, he's not out there.
Where did you see that now?
He got the job at UNC.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, that was
Um,
like 2 months ago.
I don't pay attention to college basketball that much, but
Not 2 months ago. That was still March, like probably a month ago.
anyway, I mean, there could be some guys out there for sure. Are they going to be better than Jason Kidd? I don't know. You know, like the other question you could ask yourself is, what has Kidd done without Luca? And the answer to that's not much. Um,
I mean,
look, I don't know if it's good or bad. He was a great player. Um, I don't know. Well,
I
only
think I
time will
think
tell.
he
They
was
obviously have
actually.
they obviously have a lot going on there player wise. That's fun, but I don't know.
I would actually say that I think he was a pretty good head coach, and not because of the question you posed. What did he do without Luca? That's a horrendous question to ask. Whenever the entire preface is that they made one of the worst trades in NBA history, like they didn't get any value back for Luca. Um, but
I'm going to
also
argue with that. They
no. But
solved
what
that
I'm
problem firing the GM though
but what I
last.
agreed. That's why I'm saying it's ownership not taking accountability. And anyways, what I would say is that to me, what shows that he's a good coach is that he coached a team, the one that went to the finals. I think they were like 10th in defense that year in the NBA, or like close to it, with Luka as your best player. And your second best player was Kyrie Irving, right? Like they don't play a lick of defense. And that team was a actually good defensive team. Why? They had good personnel around Luka, obviously, but Jason Kidd. It starts and ends with Jason Kidd. And that's how they made the NBA Finals.
I'm
I
not
don't know.
arguing it. I'm just saying I don't know.
That's fair. Ultimately, it's not going to matter because they're not
Look,
going to be a great team anyways.
Dallas melting down. I'm here for it, so that's fine.
I just think that at the end of the day, it seems like for Mavs fans and for NBA fans wanting Cooper Flagg's career to be as good as it possibly can be, as you root for as with any young player, it doesn't seem great right now because it
All right, I
seems
have the
like,
solution. The solution is they clearly want to rebuild. So Thunder throw a bunch of picks at him, get Cooper Flag.
oh yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds great. If they called you tomorrow and they wanted to if they wanted to give us Cooper Flag for dub and a first, would you do it?
First, absolutely. You're not going to get better value than Cooper Flag on a first round pick at 12. I do
That's not
that.
what I said. I said for dub and a first.
No, I know you have to do a player, right? I got that. Now I think they'd have to give out more than that because Cooper and Dub don't make the same money. Um,
No.
so they
Well, I mean, if they're under the cap, it doesn't matter. They don't have to match if they're
um,
under the cap,
okay. So
which right now I'd imagine they are.
they probably are. Um, I love Dub. I don't know, but maybe.
I think for me it'd
If I'm
be
pressing,
yes, and
maybe.
I
Because
think
think
if
about
for me it would be yes and it
think
would be
about the
yes in an
salary you just
instant.
deducted, and then you've got a young player. Not the
I,
Dub
I
role,
I
but
think for me, it'd be yes in an instant. Salary is a piece of it. You get slightly younger. You get, at least to this point, less injury prone. Hopefully, it would stay that way. You still get a guy that's going to be really good defensively, a guy that's got a better offensive ceiling, obviously. And then, honestly, not only do I say yes in an instant, but if they came back asking for two first, I'd still say yes.
you're probably right. The only reason I don't instantly say yes, it's emotional.
No, yeah, absolutely. I don't think Cooper Flag's going to come in here barking at the fans and putting towels on Nick Gallo's head. And I mean, he would adjust now, but I'm saying I don't think he would be the one to set that culture.
Sure.
Whereas Dub
Right.
and Jay Will kind of started everything
Yeah.
here, and
So
that's
it's
why the team
emotional.
is
I
the
say
team of
no,
one.
or I don't say yes instantly, but it's an emotional thing, not a basketball thing.
Yeah, Yeah,
basketball perspective, obviously, you say yes immediately.
yeah, agreed.
And I agree. I agree with the 2 picks.
Yeah,
What are we gonna do with them?
I mean depth, which
I
is
know, but
a lot.
you're just kicking good people off the end of the roster to give something you don't know.
No, sure, but I meant replacing them when you can't pay them
Yeah. No,
anymore.
I mean,
But
I got it. Yeah.
uh, and then
Right.
in other news, we got our speaking of Cooper Flag, we got our rookie teams out. Cedric Coward from the Memphis Grizzlies made first team. There's nothing really to say there. I mean, the Grizzlies were a bad team. He had a really good season. For them, slightly surprising, unexpected. Some people expected him to be pretty good, but and then the other four were pretty chalk. It was obviously 1 and 2 in the Rookie of the Year race: Cooper Flag and Con Knipple, and then VJ Edgecombe and Dylan Harper on first team. And what is really impressive to me about that is we saw in the first round specifically for the Sixers, VJ Edgecombe had a 30-point game. He had another 20-something point game. Like VJ Edgecombe was a big piece for the Sixers and why they won that series against the Celtics. And now obviously the Spurs are in the conference finals. Dylan Harper has been phenomenal. I think last night he only had 4 or 6 points, but his defense was great. His playmaking was good. Like Dylan Harper has been probably consistently like De'Aaron Fox has been good since he came back, but Dylan Harper has consistently been the third or fourth best player on a team that is in the conference finals right now as a rookie. So it's really interesting to see those two guys in Harper and Edgecombe in the conference in the playoffs right now performing this well, and yet you've also got those other two guys on first team that were actually the two best rookies in this class, being Coop and Khan, and so it's impressive to see like what's going to come of it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
There's already some all time moments from this class in the playoffs and early in their careers, and then just quickly running through the second team. Ace Bailey for the Jazz. Their future looks like it could be solid. They got the number 2 pick this year. Colin Murray Boyles for the Raptors also had some big moments in the first round. Derek Queen for the Pels. Maxine Reynaud for the Kings. And then Jeremiah Fears for the Pelicans as well. Had a really good like mid part of the season, mid to like slightly late part of the season um, out of Oklahoma. So shout out Jeremiah Fears. Yeah. And then we get to all defensive teams. And on first team, obviously you've got the 3 finalists for DPOY: Victor Wembanyama, Chet Holmgren, Asar Thompson. And then you close out first team with Rudy Gobert and Derek White. At this point, I feel like Derek White kind of just gets the like I'm Derek White pick, and so he's going to make it either way. Not to say that the Celtics didn't have a really good year, not to say that they weren't a good defensive team and he wasn't the best defensive player, but it just seems like maybe there were some other guys that could have gotten that spot, but he's Derek White, so he's going to get it. But shout out to them. I mean, obviously, like Rudy Gobert doesn't even get talked about really as the defensive season that he had this season just because of Wimby and Chet. But he was phenomenal again. Just going to go down as one of the most dominant defensive players, obviously, of this generation, but like ever. Like Rudy Gobert's incredible. And then second team, Scotty Barnes, Cason Wallace. So the Thunder get 2, Bam Adebayo, OG Anunoby, and Dyson Daniels, who led the league in steals. And specifically on those teams, you've got Chet, Wemby, Cason Wallace, and OG Anunoby still playing. It really shows you how important defense is, especially when you talk about OG. Like what the Knicks are doing right now kind of starts and ends with him on defense, and whether or not he provides the offensive versatility that they want out of him. And the Knicks, we'll get to that in a minute, but the Knicks are on a different level right now. So a level that I didn't know they could get to is what I will say. So you have any thoughts on any all defensive teams, or did they look good to you?
It's fine. I don't care. They looked good to me.
and then the All NBA teams.
It would
Did
have
you have
been
any problem?
it would have been a travesty though if Case and Wallace didn't get on it.
I agree. Casey Wallace is so phenomenal.
Yeah.
Do you believe Kaysen deserved it more than any other member of the Thunder roster, other than Chet, obviously,
Yeah.
over Lou Dort?
Yeah.
Okay. I tend to agree, but I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago whenever you were trying to make the argument that Lou Dort was like, I don't know, I think you said a more talented defender than Victor Wembanyama just because he's not 7'4", or so you said something like that.
Well, my
But
point when I said that was per inch, he probably is.
stop.
To act like I don't know why we
I'm
keep
not saying the height has nothing to do with it,
There's
but you're
obviously
saying that
a lot to it.
if you made Lou Dort 7'4", he'd be as good as Victor Wembanyama right now.
If he was built the way he is and could move the way he does, yeah.
No,
Wemby couldn't do shit on him.
well,
He'd outweigh him by 100 pounds.
he wouldn't be able to move the way he moves if he was built like that and he was 7'4".
Shaq did.
Shaq's a freak.
Well,
And Shaq was also only
you're asking me to
7'1".
build a freak and then say he's not going to be a freak.
No, but I guess my point being that there's a reason that Victor Wembanyama has never existed before. Because
Well,
there
first
have
of
been...
all, do you realize what percentage of the population ever hit 7'4"?
No, I'm saying in the NBA.
Dikembe Mutombo could block shots too.
Sure. And he didn't block them at the rate that Victor Wembanyama does. And I'm not even talking about blocks. I'm just talking about shots affected. Like, the game back then was also much more conducive to having high block numbers because there was less spacing. So you could just sit there in the paint, right? You can't do that now.
And guys, the difference was guys just drove the lane anyway.
But what and that's my point. And so that's also more conducive for blocks.
It's more about the players today than it does Victor.
No, I think it's smart. I think it's smart basketball.
Jordan wouldn't drive the paint on Wemby every single time in his prime.
If he played in the current NBA, no, I believe he would not. I mean, because the game is played differently. So I would say no. That's just not the basketball
you're
play.
making my point for me. First, he would. He's just that competitive guy. But the reality is, part of it is the guys they don't want to go and take him on. In the 80s and 90s, I guarantee you.
Because it's a much less efficient shot. Okay, fine. I'll play. I will play.
Stop. Let's move on. I don't want to go.
Okay, I will play your argument. Let's say Michael Jordan just takes on Wemby. You're saying that with Wemby in the paint, it's not a less efficient shot?
I'm saying Michael Jordan could get up there and would dunk on him as much times as he'd get blocked. That's what I'm saying.
Dunk on him as much time as he'd get blocked. Not finish, dunk.
Dunk.
He's not dunking on 7'4" Victor Wembanyama.
I've seen people do it. Are you telling me you've seen people do it that are more talented than Michael Jordan?
Maybe not more talented, more pure athleticism, maybe, but Wemby doesn't really get dunked on. Sometimes he gets
that you still don't
near.
get. Hold on. There's a part that you still don't get about Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, specifically.
No, I get it.
They would not be beat. They would not go down, and they weren't afraid of anyone.
I mean, they both lost a lot.
Ever. I didn't say they didn't lose, but they wouldn't be beat. They wouldn't have lost passing the ball. They would have lost with the ball in their hand, ultimate responsibility.
Well,
they also won
that's not the smart basketball
games. Well, who has more rings, Kobe or Michael and LeBron? You can say smart basketball all day. They won more.
Neither of them ever played a team as good as the Warriors or the Spurs in the finals. Just a fact. So there's that too. But LeBron would have more rings if he didn't play Kevin Durant.
The last team before right now to play a 60-win team in the finals or in the playoffs?
Yeah. I didn't say wins. I said talent.
Well, what's it matter how much talent you have? You can't win.
Well, you can still win.
And it's still arguable. You're arguing stuff that's not even comparable. But
you're saying that there is a better roster in the history of the sport than the Kevin Durant Golden State Warriors?
Probably the Michael Jordan Bulls.
First of all, hard disagree. Pure roster. Second of all,
depth for sure.
Second of all,
3 guys. 4 guys.
Second of all, well, it's not like that Bulls roster was loaded with depth either. But second of all, you're right. That's the argument, right? And third, my point being, he didn't have to play them. He was them, so he didn't have to play them. Right?
Now you're being penalized because you were the greatest ever.
No.
I'm not going
What I'm
to.
saying is,
You have to wait for this debate when I have a voice. Let's just move on.
Okay. All I'm saying is that you penalized LeBron for running into the greatest teams of all time, right?
You say they're the greatest team of all time. I don't say that.
I mean, it's just
he lost to the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, it was one series and it was really bad.
He should have an easy 5. You know what Jordan didn't do? Lose to a less talented team.
You're right. But every single time he won one, it was against a less talented team.
LeBron had an 8-point game in that series. 8.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's really bad, and I'm not excusing that, right? If we want to talk about that one series for the rest of life,
do you think Michael Jordan wins that series? It doesn't even go
Probably. But my point being, you can talk about that one, that's fine, right?
Michael Jordan,
the other ones,
series, and neither would Kobe Bryant, ever.
I mean, Kobe quite literally did lose to that team, I'm pretty sure, in the same year, but fine. Fine. So, I mean, that argument is entirely invalid. And it was with a good team because they had won a ring previously.
Next.
So, do you have any problems with the All-NBA first team? First team came out, Shea, Jokic, Wemby, obviously, and then the last two being Cade and Luka.
I don't like Luka being on it.
Why?
He just didn't play that many games. He
played the same amount of games as Cade Cunningham.
Well, he had a collapse lung, but, you know, I don't. Look,
so?
I'm going to go back to what I keep saying.
Luka was hurt too.
I'm going to go back to what I keep saying about Luka. And maybe we need to start making this argument about Jokic too. They're not two-way players. And that drives me crazy in a game that you have to be a two-way player to be great.
I think that most of the greatest are two-way players, but I still believe that you can be an all-time great without it if your insane gravity is that good on one end.
You can be, hold on. You can be considered an all-time great player for sure. AI, Carmelo Anthony,
Stephen Curry.
But Steph at least
No. Stop. Don't get it twisted. Just because there's effort doesn't mean he's good. Stop.
Hold on. I didn't say it was good.
Well, Jokic gives effort on defense. So you put Jokic in this argument too.
What I'm saying is he at least fits within the team and plays his part.
When the team defense is good. Right now it looks really bad because they don't have team defense.
But that's anybody.
My point. He was playing around some of the best defensive players ever, whatever, in his prime.
My point is when Luka's on a great defensive team, it doesn't make him play better defense. They play better defense.
In the year that they made the finals, in the playoffs, people were actually considering like, maybe he can play solid defense because there were times where he got in.
He was on their worst offensive player.
No, not at times. I mean, there were times where he used his body and got into guys
But
sure, but what I'm saying is that in the right spot, anybody can give effort from time to time.
That's the way it should happen. Just like Draymond was actually talking about this the other day. He was like, I can't remember who's he talking about. I think it was Harden.
He was talking about James Harden. Yeah.
Yeah, Harden was guarding someone. It's like, you don't ever put one of your best offensive players on the best defensive. You don't.
Yeah, he said everybody was talking about James Harden's defense, and he was like, y'all are looking at it wrong. That's not on James Harden. That's on the team, and that's on the other players. Like, you should never be expecting him to guard that guy because of the amount of effort and exuberance that he's putting into the other side of the ball. And that's one thing that I do genuinely respect about Draymond Green. I understand the point that you're making that like the truly, truly best of all time do play both ways and are phenomenal on both sides of the ball. Obviously, MJ, Kobe, Bron, Shaq, these guys, right? They're playing both sides of the ball. But what I'm saying is that's one thing that I do genuinely respect about Draymond. He says a lot of stupid crap. Like, I think like a month or so ago, he said something like he does wonder at times if Steve Kerr, because of the role that he penciled him into kind of pigeonholed and hurt his career overall. These are
Did
things
you
he said.
actually hear that? I saw that quote, but I'm not sure he said that.
No. He did. He did actually say it. Now, what he said was he
Because you can't
believes.
believe half the sports quotes or more online right
No,
now.
sure. He believed that it wasn't. Not he's not saying like a legacy or anything like that. Obviously, he's going to be a Hall of Fame player, and if he didn't play for Steve Kerr, that probably doesn't happen, right? If he doesn't play on that team, it probably doesn't happen. But
Yeah, I don't
he's
think we
saying
know his name
he's
today.
saying,
Steve Kerr.
well,
And if he didn't play with Steph and all those guys, I don't think we know his name. I'm not taking
that's not
anything away
true.
from him.
He
Hold
was a
on.
first round pick in
Hold
the
on. Hold
NBA.
on.
We would know who he
Hold on.
is.
There are a lot of first round players in the NBA. We don't know their names.
I know in the last 20 years,
You
there's
may
probably not
know
one you
their
could tell
name.
me that I'd
Hold
be
on.
like, I don't.
Stop. You may know their name because they got drafted, but you don't know because of their contribution to the league. Most of those
Sure.
guys don't do shit. So hold on. I am not saying he wasn't a big part of those championship runs. He was very important. I'm not arguing that. But it comes down to the same argument I talked about with Tom Brady. If Tom Brady had gone to the Jets, you wouldn't know his name today. It's just a fact.
Well, that's
If
different. That one you actually wouldn't because he was like a
if if
sixth round pick.
if he was drafted by, but it's different in football than it's the same.
Right.
Anyway, if Draymond Green was picked up by the Sacramento Kings, we'd never know what he did.
But my point being, anyways, what he said was he believes that he had a level as like an aggressive scorer where he could play in this league and like he could be good and he could average 20. And we'll never know if that's true or not. But my point being that he did say that. He did say that Steve Kerr sometimes kind of hindered his growth and development. My point being, I don't agree with that. I believe that what he said is dumb. I believe that Steve Kerr absolutely elevated him to his absolute
All right,
peak.
why are we still talking about this?
No, but my point being, this is one thing that I do absolutely respect for Draymond, and the perspective that he gave there definitely comes from the role that he was put into and how he was maximized in his life. And that's why he said that. He's like, you can never expect James Harden with the offensive output that he's giving you on the other side of the ball to be that guy on defense. Somebody else needs to be, right? Because that was him, right? Like he saw what Steph and Clay were doing
All
on the
right, we
other
gotta get to
side,
the finals.
and he was like, that's me. So, anyways, um, but yeah, so that's first team. Both of the JBs on second team, Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson. You got KD, Kawhi, Donovan Mitchell. And then third team, all the young guys slash guys that have never made it before. Tyrese Maxey, Jamal Murray, who's not young but never made it before. Jalen Johnson, Chet Holmgren, and Jalen Duren, all NBA third team. Shout out Chet. Shout out the Thunder 2 years in a row getting a first and a third team player. Yeah. On
All
that
right,
note, we can get
start at the
into the
Eastern
conference
Conference Finals.
finals. Start
So
with
let's
the
talk about
East.
the East first because it's easy. Right now, the most dominant team in the last month and a half. Well, month. We'll give them a month. Yeah, I see it.
No, yeah, you were saying the
Anyway,
most dominant team. I
yeah,
was answering your question.
it's obviously the Knicks. They're destroying teams. Now, do I think it matters with the finals? No. Although, what I will say is this. They are playing at a level I didn't give them credit for doing it. They will win today. This will be a sweep. Cleveland gave up last game. Like, this is over. Cleveland's terrible. And they got to go back to the drawing board again because this didn't work. New York wins tonight, and it's over. I guess there's an outside chance Cleveland gets one, but they're going to win going back to MSG. They're going to sweep them, I think. It's over. And then the only thing that helps them is they're going to get a long rest because this other one's not going away. And so I just think, and it's been violent. So it's taking its toll on both teams right now. So right now, New York's the best team in the East. It's not close. They're going to destroy Cleveland. Maybe Cleveland gets lucky and pulls one out tonight. I don't think so. I think it's a sweep for the Knicks.
I think if you put my arm behind my back, or if you twisted my arm, I would say Cleveland wins tonight. I'm going to say they get a game just because I can't see them getting swept. Although,
Coaching's bad. The playing's bad. They don't. It's bad.
did you
All the
see
way
what
around.
Kenny Atkinson said during practice availability yesterday?
Yeah.
He said, well, analytically, we've won 2 of 3. And he was like, I know people don't want to hear that and people are results driven. And I'm like, well, maybe if you're talking about game 47 of the regular season, we can have this
You know
conversation
what?
about your processes. When we're in the Eastern Conference Finals, you cannot be saying analytically we've won 2 of 3 when you're down 3-0 because process does not matter. Result is all that matters. If you lose the first game, we can have that
In
conversation,
my professional
right?
life, do you know what my favorite saying is? Don't confuse effort with results.
Now, for what it's worth, I don't.
You don't care how hard you work if the
Now,
result
for what
isn't
he for what, in fairness, what he's saying, he's not saying effort. He's saying
good.
we made every right play. They just didn't go down.
Who
And he
gives a
said
shit?
that basically their shot luck has been way below normal and the Knicks has been way above normal. But my point being, these are all conversations, fun in games that we can have in game 47 of the regular season. Hell, these are even conversations I would entertain after you lose a bad game 1 of a series, right? After you go down 2-0, I really start to get impatient with you. If you're down 3-0 and you're trying to have these conversations, make these claims, no, we're done. Stop.
And
Because
here's
at that
why.
point, you're right. It is all results driven. You have less
Well,
points on the scoreboard. That's
but
what
here's,
matters.
but here's why. No one's ever gone down 3-0 in one series, and it isn't going to start with
And
this,
it's not going to start today.
which means this series is already over, and he knows it. And you're making that argument,
Yeah.
and then you wonder why your team sucks?
Well, at that point, it makes it seem like what he's doing is vying for his job, which, for what it's worth, anybody calling for his job, I think is dumb. Like, I don't think that you should be losing it.
I think he's been terrible, just as bad as the team.
In this series, sure, but what I'm saying is they're in the
They barely
conference
got
finals
through
right now.
every series they've been in.
But they did, and my point being that they're, in the last 2 years, have won, I think, more games than any other team in the Eastern Conference. Maybe the Celtics have won more. It's close. In the regular season. And then
Is
last
that the
year they made
goal?
it to this. No, but last year they made it to the second round and everybody on the team got hurt and they lost. And then this year they made it to the conference finals. And yeah, it's a bad loss, right? But the Knicks are just clearly the better team at this point, which I didn't think. In fairness, 2 weeks ago I was not
Their
saying that was the case.
roster, on paper, they are not.
I tend to agree to that statement, but I think that
I mean,
we have.
I would argue Brunson's the best player in the series anyway. That's my opinion. They have the best player.
I think it's close. But anyways, I would say that at the end of the day, it gets very interesting and nuanced when we have this conversation of the standpoint, like, I don't believe that Kenny Atkinson's job should be in danger, nor do I think it is. But those are the kind of comments that it makes it seem like, is that right now he's vying for his job, which is like, at least try and win a game first. Like, don't be having your exit interview before the season is over. And that's kind of what those kind of
But it is over.
seem
No
like.
one's ever done this, and they're not going to be.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I'm
They're
saying,
not
like,
going to be
technically
the first
speaking,
one to go 4-0. 4-0.
no, obviously. But what I'm saying is,
If they were able to pull it out to 6, that would be a shock.
I mean, it's not a shock. You only got to win 2 games, but
I know. They're 0-3.
well, teams have gotten to 6 before at that point. Like, it's not like they're a bad basketball team. They've just had a bad 3 games.
They've been bad.
Yeah, but
Right.
it's
Let's not talk about
more.
these teams. It does not
It's
matter.
more impressive, I would say, on the Knicks. And here's the thing: we've
I'm
been
not
talking about
taking
this.
To be
No,
clear, I am not taking anything away from the Knicks.
No, absolutely.
But 2 things can be true. The Knicks have been great and dominant, and the Cleveland has sucked.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And here's the thing: we haven't given them credit this whole time. Not the Knicks, like the Eastern Conference as a whole, because we're saying this whole time it's going to be the Spurs, it's going to be the Thunder. It doesn't matter.
I still think that's true.
I do still probably believe that, but here's what I'll say: in the first round, I picked the Knicks in 6, and they did win in 6, but that was after going down 2-1 on 2 buzzer-beating plays and then destroying them in the last 3 games, including the last one being by 50. I picked Knicks in 7 tentatively and didn't love it in the second round, and they swept. and I picked Cavs in 6 in this round, and the Knicks are probably going to sweep. My point being that at some point you just got the momentum. And at some point, they've won 10 games in a row in the
Look,
playoffs.
here's the
And at
thing. I'm
some
not gonna
point,
argue that, but I'm not gonna argue any
I
of
guess
those.
my point is the
They have
percentage
the
isn't
momentum.
0.
They have the momentum. They're gonna get the rest. They're gonna be healthy going into the finals. All of those things are true.
The percentage isn't 0. That's all I'm saying.
It's not 0. I think best case for them, they go 6. That's possible.
In fairness, that's also what we were saying about the Indiana Pacers last year.
Yeah.
So,
Fine. Right.
but
The finals would be playing out west. All right, let's go there.
I agree.
Let's talk about last night.
Let's talk about anything but last night.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to go down some roads that most people aren't going down today. First, let me just call out some things. Give me a couple minutes here. The first thing is game 3 was historic from the bench, right? As long as this team is together, we will never have another game like that from the bench. It was historic and it was nuts. That's not supposed to happen, right? Especially on the road. Last night, historically terrible on the road. We'll never have another one of those either, right? The bench was terrible last night, and they were record-setting 2 nights ago. So let's just be clear about that. Game 3 was a fluke in the sense that we can get great bench play. Historic bench play, that's not going to happen again. Not like that, right? It worked great for us, but let's be honest, right? That's not what benches do on the road. Ours should play really well on the road, but not historic, right? Not 86 points. It's dumb. Or whatever it was. I think it was close to 86 if it wasn't 86.
I think it was 76, I think.
Either way, that's crazy, right? The other thing is last night, 2 things can be true again. The Spurs defense and hustle last night was elite in every sense of the word. But that wasn't why we missed a bunch of shots. Guys were getting wide open looks because of SGA kicking it out. To your point, SGA was making a smart basketball move. No one could hit anything, right? So part of this is players did not step up.
Jay Will went 1 of 6 or 1 of 7 in that game after going 5 of 6 the game before.
Yeah,
not one of the shots he took was contested.
Well, and had an air ball. Like it was bad.
Yeah,
right
no, but not one of the shots he took was contested.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So both things can be true. The Spurs defense was elite last night. That's not why we weren't hitting a lot of these shots. They were open.
Agreed, but also in fairness to them, that's the game plan that they went with. That's the game plan they wanted. And for what it's worth, they stuck to their guns because it's the same game plan that killed them in game 3, and it's the game plan that gave them a dominant victory in game 4.
But they do. We're not
agreed.
Now,
but what I'm saying is,
if we had just shot 30% from 3, we were still in it, right?
Yeah.
But so here's the other thing. And this cannot be overlooked. And I was really pissed off about it last night. Take last night's game out for a second. Who's the MVP of this series right now for the Thunder?
For the Thunder? Shea.
It's not. It's not true.
It's definitely Shea.
It's not true. It's Caruso.
It's still Shea.
It's not. Stop.
Caruso doesn't do what...
Game 1. Let me finish
because of Shea. You think Caruso would score 31 without Shea on the court?
Stop. Even if we say he's just the second best player, which there's no debating that.
You didn't say best player. You said who's the most valuable player.
In the series.
Yeah,
Caruso
Shea.
has been a game wrecker on defense.
Absolutely.
And it's been really
If you want to
great.
make the argument for who's the second most valuable, we can have a conversation.
I'm
But
not going to argue this right now. What I am going to say is this, and this is where Dagnall is at fault. As great as Caruso's been in this series, he shot 1 shot last night and got 14 minutes. Unbelievable.
Not really. I mean, the looks just weren't there. They what they did was they switched because their defense is ultimately they want to give up an outside shot to somebody that they want taking the shot. And what they've started doing later in this series is they've been making the switch to where they're not leaving Caruso as the one guy that's open. And instead, last night, it was Jay Will a bunch, and there was Aaron Wiggins a bunch, and it was Lou Dort a bunch. And so they just switched it to where when Caruso gets the extra pass, he's making one more, and then they just didn't fall. So
So
I
all of that to
I
be said,
understand what you're saying, but it's not like it was intentional on our part. It was more intentional on their part, and it worked.
so here's what I would say. It was ugly in every conceivable way for the Thunder, but it wasn't pretty for the Spurs. Like, you should win
Other
that
than
game.
Wimby, I understand
Oh,
what you're saying.
no, I agree with Wemby. Wemby was great.
Wimby
What
was
I will
stupid.
what I will say, though, is you should win that game by 40.
Yeah,
You won by 20, right? At any point in that third quarter, if we got hot, they could have lost.
I mean,
We
they weren't
didn't.
going to, but
Well, you never know with us, but my point is this. Again, this kind of goes back to what I was saying about game one, which ended up being true in 2 and 3. As great as they were, and as bad offensively and inefficient, I say bad offensively, inefficient as Shea was, and some of the other guys outside of Caruso and Dub were, right? It took double overtime. Last night, yeah, you won by 20, but we were historically terrible last night. Terrible. And you won by 20. And I know 20 is a lot of points. But my point is it should have been 40, right? So the other thing too, and I think this was evident last night. Last night was the first game in the playoffs where not having Dub and Mitchell mattered.
well, hold
It
on, hold
mattered.
on. It was the first time that we didn't have AJ Mitchell. So
I know I'm fair enough, but my point is not having one of those guys
it was the first time not
to
having
create.
Dub mattered because AJ Mitchell wasn't there, right? If AJ Mitchell is
Fair
there,
enough.
this
One
is
of
a
those two guys, I guess, is the
that
point.
is my biggest takeaway from this game is AJ Mitchell got hurt in game 2,
We need
played
one of
in
them
game
for next game.
AJ Mitchell got hurt in game 2, played in game 3, and then got ruled out for game 4. He better be there game 5 because here's the thing: Dub is not coming back. I don't believe he is. I really don't. Nor do I think he should. Right? His hamstring injury has been too much all season long, way too strenuous, and at this point, he's tried to come back on it, going back to the regular season like 4 different times, and never has he lasted more than a game or two before he's like, can't do it again. And not his fault. Obviously, it's not like he's choosing this. My point being, it's not working. He needs to be shut down. I don't think he should come back. I do think we can win it without him if we're on our game and if AJ is there. We cannot do it without both of them. Like we can't. Like
We have to have a second offensive option in the
yeah,
first game.
absolutely. And like if AJ Mitchell doesn't play in Game 5, we're losing the series, right? Because at the end of the day, I don't think we'll necessarily have as bad of an offensive output in game 5 as we did in game 4. But if both Dub and AJ aren't on the court, it's not going to be much better. Like we may shoot slightly better, but at the end of the day, the process is going to be relatively similar. And yeah, we'll make adjustments and stuff, but their defense is just going to be able to overwhelm Shea so much because there's no
And
other legitimate
and
ball handler
and
that
here's the
like
thing.
it's wraps. And at the end of the day, in 2-2 series, winning game 5 effectively wins you the series.
And here's the other thing.
So
Here's the other thing.
if AJ doesn't play next game, it's over.
Winner. I don't know about that. I think we can still win a game at home. But look, because McCain has been playing
You
pretty
think we can
well
win without both of them?
at home. Maybe
I disagree. I
I'm
thousand.
not. I'm not saying it's optimal. Look, here's the other thing too. I love Dort. He's our longest tenured player. I am ready for the next part of this to begin, which is I'm ready for Case and Wallace to be a starter on this team. It's not going to happen this year, and that's fine. But I'm ready for Dort to be traded. Let's get some capital for him. Let's get rid of that salary. And I'm ready for Case and Wallace to be a starter. Kaysen can play really great defense, obviously.
Obviously,
And
he's a great defender. I just don't think we do it because of the size. Like he's like 6'2",
but
whereas Dort's like
he's a
6'4" and a
better
half and stocky.
but he's a significantly better offensive player than Dort.
No, agree. I believe that he does provide more overall value to
Yeah.
the team at this point than Lou Dort.
Hold on a second.
But
It's crazy raining and storming in the desert. And it's about to blow shit off my back patio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh, I can't see the mountain right now. Oh,
Wow.
yeah. I assume it's rain. I mean, it's raining a little bit right here, but it must be super heavy. Hold on.
That's crazy.
I don't know what you probably can't see anything.
No. I like the shirt.
One of my team members was in of all places, Hawaii, and found this shirt and had to get it for me.
Oh, cool.
It's got like the tribal prints at the bottom.
Oh, sick. I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Bad shirt to have after 2 is not there, I guess,
Yeah, it's still
but
cool.
it's cool. It's cool. Anyways, back
So
to
anyway,
Case and Wallace.
yeah, I'm ready for it. I
Agreed.
understand about the body that Dort is, and I love Dort, but even on his best nights, I get that he's occasionally had these really breakout nights offensively, but it's just all one thing. I
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah,
ready
no,
to have more potency at that position on both sides.
I agree. I feel you. Um,
I mean, we've always
I
had that guy, right? Cephalosha back in the day, and then Robertson.
I
I'm just
do
ready to have a guy who
believe
can do both things.
yeah, I do believe that, like, under the assumption we trade Lou Dort this offseason, which I do expect,
I do expect
I
that,
do I
even
do
with
still
Freeland.
believe I do still believe Cason Wallace is coming off of our bench because I believe that we probably insert AJ Mitchell into that spot at that point.
Not if Tubb is there. I don't think. I think we leave. We want the
I think
defensive
we do. I think
threat.
we stagger them quite a
I
bit. So
love Mitchell, but he's not the
I
defensive
think
player that
yeah,
Wallace is.
I think that AJ would start and end games, but other than that, they would stagger it a lot. I think that like he would play the first maybe 3 minutes and then go to the bench and then come back when Shea and Dub go to the bench.
Right.
Um, but I think that there would be a real possibility that he would start. But anyways, that's not the point.
Can we just two other things real quick?
Yeah.
First thing is taking my Thunder hat off for a minute. I know I don't have one on, but you get the idea. This series is epic.
Yeah, let's just appreciate the series for a second. Like, obviously, the last couple games haven't been as close as the first two were, but they were still, and they said it on the broadcast yesterday, they were still complete all-out effort, start to finish, and they were still, like, complete jam-packed with plays and with strategies, and, like, you see all these working, moving parts in real time, and this is a 2-2 series. This is, so far, everything we've expected it to be, and it's lived up to it, and in every game, even if the game wasn't intensely super close, we got an MVP caliber performance from at least one, if not both of the guys. And like last night, and that's just the biggest thing I wanted to harp on so far through this series is just what Shea and Wemby have been. And I get we can go back and forth and whatever. We can
I
talk
will
about
say
where we
though,
want to
Shea does
rank
not.
these guys. We can talk
But
about the
Shea is
talent of
still
these
not
guys,
been Shea.
whatever. I would agree from like a pure statistical point, but from a value point and from the plays that he's making point, like one of the best plays I've seen in this entire series was in later in game 3. It was one of the daggers. Like the biggest dagger was the stupid Jared McCain left-handed, one-handed pass from the baseline to Jay Will at the 3-point line to hit the and one 3. That was the biggest dagger. But a little bit before that, there was another play that was kind of daggery, where Shea had just crossed half court, like wasn't even at the timeline yet, and they sent a double at him, and he threw it from just inside half court through the double all the way to the opposite side, deep wing, almost corner to Cason Wallace, and Cason Wallace hit a 3. Like, that play in itself is one of the most impressive plays I've seen in this entire series from a guy that's not a playmaker, right? I'm not saying, obviously, he's not Luka, he's not Jokic, he's not LeBron in terms of a playmaking sense, right? But there are very, very few players on the planet that could have made that pass that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander made. It was phenomenal and insane. And so that's kind of what I'm saying is that, like, you're right. From a pure statistical point, and and from like a takeover dominance point, it hasn't really seemed like we've had an MVP performance from Shea, but from value and from everything, just always making the right play and the right read. Like he also leads, and there are some advanced analytics sites that track this. He leads the league in the playoffs in hockey assists. So making a pass to one more pass to get a bucket, right? So the guy he passes to directly gets an assist, right? He leads the league in that. He leads the league in uh open shots generated for other players. Like, so just his pure value in the series has been phenomenal. And then Wemby, right? What's not to say? On both sides of the ball, he had like 3 or 4 lobs, 3 or 4 dunks in that game. Obviously, he had the stupid freaking half court shot over 3 people. Like, he's just begging for the ball. And I'm not even gonna lie, like it's gonna sound like the LeBron "I knew Kobe was gonna score 81" meme, right? But I didn't necessarily think it was gonna go in. But he was calling for the ball up there, and I'm like, oh, he's about to do something. Oh. I just thought, honestly, because of his strides, he was going to get a little bit further and then hit one from like the timeline or something. No, he's like, let me just get to center court and then heave it over 3 dudes and it goes in. And like, dude is stupid. He's just so good. And like early in game 3, when they started on their 15-0 run, he had a 3-point shot where Hartenstein like faced him up and bodied him a little bit, so he didn't go by him. So instead, he's like, well, let me just ISO on you. So he goes between the legs, tween, step back 3, and hits it. And I'm like, what do you do? He's 7'4" doing this. Like, it it it's actually insane. When he's on, he's on. And like, this series has been phenomenal from that standpoint because of it.
So one other thing, and it's just because I can't take it anymore. I am so sick of this flopper bullshit, and somehow the fans or everybody thinks that the refs are in our pocket, which is ridiculous. And what I can't figure out, right? First of all, when they say Shea foul baits, well, that's not entirely false, right? But it's because you get out of position defensively, play solid, which they didn't do, by the way, really, in game 4, right? They stayed on the ground, which good idea, right? But no one ever says, well, it wasn't a foul, but he baited him. Oh, yeah, a pump fake will do that. That's why you do it, right? And then once you make a bad move, then he shoots it.
Well, and it's not even just like, that's the other thing too. It's not even like he's just doing it to get him to jump and get the foul. Not half the time, but a good amount of time, it goes in anyways. And if it doesn't go in, it's near the rim anyways.
Right. Like somebody the other day after game 3, I think, well, he got lucky and made that. He does that all the time. Like, he's actually trying to make
it's not luck.
Not just heaving it.
Yeah.
It's not the James Harden thing where he would just do this, right?
Right. It's not like, oh, I got him to jump, let me just throw it up and get the foul. No.
But here's the other thing. He's
getting a shot on rim.
In this series, Wemby and Shea have had the exact same number of free throw attempts. 34. Exact. Okay? The other thing is, Spurs were plus 10 in game 1. We were plus 7 in game 2. They were plus, we both had the exact same in game 3. And they were plus 14 last night.
Now, for what it's worth,
plus 17 on the series.
Yeah. Now, for what it's worth, everybody was talking after game 2 was the big deal, right? Because we were playing Wemby very physically and not enough got called. And I do believe that. I do believe that the refs did not have...
In the regular season, we would have fouled out. I got it. But that's not what the...
No, not even in the regular season. In fairness, like, it was very physical and there was a lot of misses. I do believe it was a very poorly officiated game in game 2. That's the big thing. However, people
on the series.
People then use it to extrapolate to every other game, just assuming that the rest ends up being the same, and that's not the case.
But they were saying it after game 1, the Spurs were plus 10.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like the argument after the regular season stopped, and they were saying Shea made more free throws than anybody. Yeah, but he didn't take more.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too, is right.
That's the key stat. just because he's better at doing it when he gets there.
I did see one thing where I saw somebody online. It was like, oh, y'all are like crazy because whenever the Thunder win, it's like, oh, the refs are in their pocket, they're in their favor. Whenever the Thunder lose, it's like, oh, that game was officiated well. It's like,
Right.
well, it's not
Also,
really
by
that.
the
Like
way,
it's
do you know who, as a percentage of their points out of the 4 remaining playoff teams, and this was true when it was still 8 too, by the way, who was the lowest as far as percentage of their points from free throws in the playoffs?
I mean us. We take
Uh,
less than everybody. Yeah.
you know who's number 1?
Probably the Spurs.
Spurs. What are we talking about?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Now, for what it's worth, we also just have a better offense, so we score more points too. But yeah, we do take less. So,
All
um, I
right.
think ultimately I don't want to talk about any of this anymore because what I really just want to say, and I know this isn't going to get to anybody, right? But stop, just stop talking about it
And appreciate what
because
we're
for your sake,
watching.
appreciate what the hell you're watching right now. This is historic. This
Like, they
is
were being really physical with us last night, and I'm not complaining about it.
this is the beginning. This series could end up being the first of 8 times that these two teams play in the playoffs over the next 12 years. Who knows? This series could be the moment that determines how both of these teams end up with 2 or 3 each in the next 15 years. Who knows? Right? We don't know, but like this rivalry, these two teams could be historically dominant for the modern era. We haven't seen a repeat champ since 2017, 2018. We still might not this year. We don't know, right? But if we do, that's historic in its own right. And it was not easy because this Spurs team will be back. Just watch the basketball, right? Like, it's phenomenal. And people are over here like, well, I just can't watch the Thunder. They're so unwatchable. They make it unfun. Then don't watch the Thunder. Watch the game, right? Take it out of it and just watch the game for what it is
People that
because it's
say
great.
that, people that say that don't know basketball and aren't
They
actually
don't.
watching. They're getting these
Yeah,
5-second clips on TikTok, and they can't come up with original idea on their own.
agreed.
Even some of these, there's what was his name? A player that was like a B-level player. He came out the other day and says, "I can't root for this team. I can't do this." That's just him getting clicks because he's not relevant
Oh,
anymore.
it was Jay Williams on
Yeah,
ESPN. Yeah.
that's just him trying to get clicks because he's not relevant any other way. That's bullshit, and he knows it. Did you see what Barkley said?
Yeah, he's been harping on the Spurs the whole series. He's like, shut up.
Well, and in fairness, I don't think the Spurs have been saying anything. I think they've been handling it great. Their fans,
I agree. I do.
their fans have been little bitches,
Yeah.
right? I said after game 1 that I thought it was I thought the one thing was a technical foul on Wemby when he ran over Caruso. Other than that, whatever, man. It was physical both ways, and it was fun to watch, and it's still been that way. Even last night was fun basketball, um, and it was tough and it was physical. It's a rare breed of basketball,
It was fun for one
and
of the teams.
I just meant as a fan of the game.
No, yeah, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I was frustrated as hell, but not at how physical it was, not at how they
Also,
were playing.
Stephon Castle's an athletic freak, by the way. The
He
dunk
is
on Hart in game 3.
okay, fine, but he's missed at least 4 dunks in this series because he tries to go up too hard. He is an athletic freak.
Has he not gotten
Sometimes,
fouled on all of them? I'm pretty sure.
like 2 of them.
I think he got fouled on all of them.
Anyway, not the point. You're an athletic
Well, that's
freak,
kind of the point.
but the goal is to get into the hoop. So
Sure, but if you get fouled, then you get fouled. Like the one last night that he missed was on a putback dunk, but Shea grabbed his arm. So like, yeah, okay, he
anyway,
missed.
point is, yes, he is. He's also a turnover machine. So
He was in game 1 and game 2, but that's because he's not necessarily the primary
I get
guard. That's normally De'Aaron Fox, and so like when De'Aaron Fox came back in game 3, he had like 1 turnover, and then in game 4, I think he had like 2 or 3. But like my point being, yeah, in game 1 he had 20, which I'm pretty sure was the most through 2 games in a series ever. Right? Done.
I knew it was a Spurs record for sure.
I think it was the most ever through 2 games in a series. Right?
So look,
But Like,
Here's what I'm saying, and in fairness, unlike the Lakers and unlike, Phoenix, I haven't heard anything out of the players or the coach bitching about this
yeah.
stuff.
I think that's the other part too that makes the series just so
The
much
other
fun. It's
teams
so
did, but their coaching staff and their players aren't doing it.
I
I
think
respect
that
them.
that's part of what makes the series so much fun as well. And so great if you're actually tuned in, you're actually watching, is like obviously none of them are going to admit it, but I believe, kind of going to the point of what you're saying there, that all the coaches there and the players, they haven't really been talking about it, is like I believe that the players on both sides of this series right now understand the magnitude behind it. Like, and so I think that's a big part of it too, is because not to say that obviously like any team steps on the court and they don't think they can win any game, right? Or any team steps on the court and they're not trying to win a title, obviously. But realistically, everybody knew the Suns weren't winning a title. Everybody knew the Lakers weren't winning a title. The Spurs don't know that, right? They don't know that they're not, right? And to same thing for us as well. And not only that, but the Spurs realize that their best players, their three best players, are 20, 21, and 22, right? And we understand that our three best players aren't even on their max scale contracts yet. So we understand that both of these teams have an extremely long runway and that this series is historic and what the magnitude is. And I believe that everybody involved in this series right now, they're not going to admit it, obviously, but they understand it as well. And so
Yeah,
they're treating it as such, right? So
yeah,
they are here professionally, they are here to play ball, right?
and
They're not getting
I
wrapped up in the antics
yes,
because that's not the point right now. They're
and
trying to
that's
be
my
the greatest in
point.
the world.
I don't believe the Spurs are a part of this at all. I
Agreed.
respect their players and their coach. They haven't been saying anything.
No,
They're
yeah.
just about what they're doing and what they can do to get better, which is the same thing we do every game. It it drove me crazy. As you know, Austin Reeves just became a meme in the Lakers series. He'll never be anything more than a meme to me. And then in Houston, Booker was just whiny. And so, um,
Phoenix.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I was talking about Booker specifically.
No, I know, but you said Houston, so I was just
Oh, sorry. Anyway, that's not happening in the series. These teams, they hate each other, I think, but they respect each other a lot.
no, agreed. Yeah,
And so I'm here for it, right? I miss the games or the days when teams hated each other a little bit, had a healthy respect for one another, but hated each other and just wanted to pummel them. And that's what we're seeing, and that's okay. And it's fun to
it's fun.
watch.
It's fun.
I hope we
And
win it.
yeah, it's physical.
I
It's
think we'll win
physical.
game. I think we'll
Let
win
them
game.
trash each other.
I think we'll win game 5. I don't know what happens in game 6. We'll see.
AJ Mitchell's status matters a lot. We'll see.
It matters.
I'm
You're not wrong.
scared. I'm scared. Definitely scared.
I have a healthy respect. I'm not afraid yet.
We're getting there. We're getting there. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. All right. I think that's about all we got for today. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up. A little bit under the weather for both of us. Hopefully by next week, we're up to normal standards, and then I can get Dad to yell at me back a little bit more instead of just be like, wait, I can't talk like this. But then we'll have some fun for you. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Watch the rest of the playoffs with us and enjoy it. It'll be fun. Obviously, by the time you see this episode, you will know whether or not AJ Mitchell played tomorrow night, and you will know whether or not the Thunder won and whether or not I am crying and depressed. So there's a lot to ride, but we'll be back with you next week after both conference final series are over, and we will preview the NBA finals starting next Wednesday, June 3rd. So we'll see you then. It's
The
been the
beef,
generational beef.
socials, all that stuff.
Yeah, follow us, like, comment, subscribe.
100th subscriber
100 sub.
gets the comment.
Peace.